June 27th, Kurt and Carol Raasch, Odebolt, Iowa. Now taking a look at some of the soybeans that we planted in mid-May to third week of May. These plants today, this envelope I have here is approximately 6 inches, so they're in the 6 to 7 inch range, I'd say, maybe possibly a few plants at 8. But we're definitely 3 trifoliates emerged, in the 4th one in the whirl are just about to come out. So these beans have come along pretty good in our estimation. We're looking at a beans following corn that was spring disked with the offset disc. You can still see some of the residue here that's left from the corn crop of 08. However, it was disked once with an offset disc. Then mulch finishers came through, and we one pass with that, and at the same time before that we applied a low rate of prowl to give us some water hemp protection and so forth. I would point out here that we have some small velvet leaf or butterprint or whatever is the common name you'd use in your vicinity that are in that 1 to 3 inches tall, but very few other grasses or weeds that were present here. Obviously, we'll have some volunteer corn that we'll have to take care of in some of the areas as well. But we were real pleased with our pre-emergence herbicide here getting applied early on. We will be in this field, hopefully. It could be sprayed today. However, our wind conditions here today are just a little bit strong for applying any Roundup at this time today, so it'll either be in the next couple of days, providing we don't have any more moisture. Sunlight has really improved the looks of our soybean crop here in the last few days. It was kind of a tough go, the amount of wet feed and the cloudy days and so forth we had over the last 2 or 3 weeks, but I think these beans will respond very well to the conditions. I might add also we've had a few reports of aphids, but nothing of any threshold at all that is of our concern. And there were also a few bean leaf beetles early on, some of that overwintering that came through, but again, nothing that, at least in the areas that we've been scouting, that would anywhere come near to doing any type of maintenance or preventive taking care of that situation. 27th again in late afternoon here. I have a piece of 8.5 by 11 to give you an idea of the height of these soybeans here. Again, the stage that you put these in is just in the 3rd trifoliate area, and what I was comparing here, the rows that are coming here perpendicular to this end row would be Roundup Ready 2s, and this would be just a regular Roundup bean. We have 2 fields of these varieties this year that we are comparing. In this field we see some damage here from hail and or wind earlier in the stages. I'm not sure whether we had any hail adjustment here on this field of beans at this point or not, but I do believe a claim was turned in. One of the things we're going to have to do is get with our select and our herbicide program here fairly soon, because we do have some volunteer corn that is beginning to be a challenge to the soybean crop here as well, but that's a pretty easy kill on that if we get that done here in the next few days. June 27th, these beans were planted, I believe, yes, on May 24th, so just a little over 30 days from planting date here. Good growing conditions again, excellent moisture. We used a Yetter row cleaner ahead of the planter, and with the amount of root balls and residue that we've had in the field, it was almost essential to at least clear a path for the seed to have good seed soil contact with the row units. This is probably the heaviest residue year we've ever had in our history of putting crops in, but got really good emergence from that planter system of clearing out the residue. We're looking at some corn planted in the latter part of April, now showing around 10 leaves. At this point, also you might be able to zoom in here. The brace roots have just come out at the node there and are really beginning to set down to help support this plant. We've had excellent amount of moisture here in the last week to 10 days. In fact, our challenge has been to get in and get the post applications done, not only in the corn but also in the beans, as far as our management practices that need to be taken care of. If possible, we'd also like to show that there's amount of moisture that's between the rows here because of the canopy, well shaded by this field of corn. I would estimate that we could have pollination here somewhere between the 4th and 10th of July. And it looks like the forecast we have is for at least decent temperatures, not any of the triple-digit temperatures in this area at this time. We'll visit some other fields here shortly and as well. But corn has had an excellent growth pattern here. We had a few days in the 90s, but extremely humid days, perfect growing conditions as much as we can see. As we get into the soybean field, I'll comment about some other things like wind and so forth, but most of the corn fields are exhibiting no damage at this time, no insects that are at all a concern for anybody right now. Quite as advanced as what the last stop we had. These leaves here on this plant is about 8 leaf right now. Also, you notice if we do get a shot down here at the base, this would be a real poor time to have any extensive wind in the area because the brace roots have not come out yet. But also notice around the base of the plant, we still have pretty good moisture. This is a 20-inch row spacing of corn, somewhere in that 38,000 population here after at emergence and on through. This corn probably will be in more in that 10th of July period when it's going to pollinate. But again, excellent plant health. However, you can see here as how rapid this plant is growing, the color of the leaves that are emerging, pretty good leaf color on the tips, but down in where they're coming out of the whorls, it's still got a little bit of a lighter yellower color, but that'll improve with sunlight here and so forth. We've had extremely amount of moisture, I would say, estimate somewhere in the range of 6 to 10 inches over the last 2 to 3 weeks. It was a real challenge to get post Roundup on these crops here to protect them from the weeds, but in the evidence of what we have here, the herbicide control has been, I would say, excellent. You see hardly anything, and with this kind of canopy now, it shouldn't be competition for the corn. We've just reported on that this is a rotation, corn-soybean rotation. This had about 3,000 gallons of liquid hog manure applied last fall in early December. And as you look out across here, there may be a little bit of streaking, a little bit of pattern, which is pretty typical with application of fall application of hog manure, but the color is excellent. In general, the amount of moisture we've had this year has, if there are any deficiencies, it's not as apparent as what it would be if it was a dry year. This is Kurt and Carol Raasch reporting on the corn situation here at Odebolt, Iowa on June 26th.